Hey, I'm Chris from Make Everything, and today we've got a big 6-inch Chaz Parker vise on the bench. It's got a crack in the tail, it's seized up, and we're gonna try and fix it. Check it out. All right, so this is a pretty large 6-inch stationary Chaz Parker vise that I picked up at a flea market. It's got a crack in the tail, and it is very seized up. Now, after I bought it, I kept it inside, and this is the condition I got it in. You can see the crack back there, and there's a bolt actually keeping it together. Now, off camera, I cut one of the kind of ball ends off of the handle, and I'm gonna try and figure out how to get this thing apart so that I can get it into some rust removing soak. First thing I'm gonna do is use some WD-40 Specialist penetrant, and that's what's gonna help me kind of free this thing up as best I can to try to break it into two pieces. Now, I originally tried to get this into like a barrel or a plastic bin, but it's honestly really big and I couldn't fit it in anywhere. So I thought the best thing to do would be to try to separate the moving jaw from the fixed jaw, and then it would allow me to have it, be a little more manageable. So I tried using the pressure that screw can provide to tighten the vise and then loosen the vise, open the jaws and close the jaws, which I hoped would kind of free things up. But you can see that the collar next to the meatball end of the screw is bending out, and I'm bending the screws. This thing is totally jammed, and it's really putting up a fight to try to get this thing to move freely. It doesn't look as difficult in fast motion, but I was really cranking that thing to try to get it apart. I decided to take out the screw in the back just so that it wouldn't get in my way, thinking that I was going to get pretty close to breaking this thing apart. I was even smashing the back with a hammer and a block of wood. And finally, I decided the only way I was going to get this thing into two pieces was by using a bottle jack. Now you can see I'm using some more penetrating spray here, and it's definitely helping break up some of that rust, but I just don't have enough leverage on it the way it is, so a bottle jack's going to be the way. This is a 5-ton bottle jack, and you can see I have to tap and add penetrating spray as I'm putting pressure on it to get that tail to move into the fixed body of the vise. This thing is super stuck in there, and eventually what I realized was that the floating screw box inside there was actually getting jammed. So we took the whole thing apart, I pulled the screw box out, and then we were able to use the vise and the bottle jack to kind of pull itself apart. So in order to get the screw box out, we actually had to close the vise back up. Mac is here helping me. And once I did that, I was able to pull the screw box out using the screw, and then again, I could go back to it with the 5-ton bottle jack. I was shocked how much energy it took to get this thing to open up. I was holding on to that thing and really cranking my heart out trying to get this thing to go up. And I thought with the crack in the rear of the jaw, it would actually move easier. You can see eventually we got it. This is a pretty heavy vise. It probably weighs about 85 pounds. And getting this thing off of there and being able to maneuver it around in two pieces definitely made my life a lot easier. Now it's going to be way easier to get the rust off, and for that I'm going to be using a rust removing soak. But first I'm going to use some WD-40 Specialist Cleaner and Degreaser to kind of clean this thing up. This video is sponsored by WD-40, and I use a lot of their products to clean this vise up. So outside, I've got the WD-40 Specialist Rust Remover Soak, and I initially poured it into this plastic bin, thinking that this would be big enough to house the vise. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but you can see 2 of the bottles are brand new, and one of them was from my last project. And what's nice about this rust removing soak is that you can utilize it over and over again. So I poured it into that 5-gallon bucket, I let it sit overnight, and you can immediately see the difference in that movable jaw. You can see how much rust was removed, and I'm basically just wiping it off with a paper towel. I mean, look at that, it's totally clean, and you could basically paint it from here. Now to pour it back into this storage tote, I can put the fixed section in there, and I can start to remove the rust on that. Now, in order to offset some of the liquid, I added a bunch of other metal parts to it, and you can see I put a rag on top of it, which is soaked in the rust removing soak, and that's going to also help get this thing rust free. Now, the WD-40 rust removing soak works best when you've got it in a little bit warmer of an environment, and it is pretty hot in my shop, so this stuff is working really great. I did a couple rounds of this, flipping the vise body upside down and backwards, and basically was able to get all the rust off. And I just used a little light scouring pad and some paper towels to clean off any residual rust that might remain. From this point, I can go ahead and continue by trying to repair the crack section of the vise. Now, I've never done a cast iron repair using nickel rod before, but I thought this might be a great application for it, as because this, crack is pretty significant and the vise actually won't go together in its current state. So I spread it apart with a screwdriver and blasted it out with some compressed air. Also put some more of the WD-40 Specialist penetrating spray in there, and that's just going to help get anything out. And then I could clamp it down and make sure that it's even going to fit inside the fixed jaw once I weld it. You can see how it's wider at the end than it is at sort of the beginning of it near the jaw. So I take an angle grinder and a cutoff wheel and I cut out any of the jagged edges in there and sort of gouge out, so I'm going to be able to get my welding rod in there. Now for this, I'm going to be using the new Lincoln Electric Power Mig 215 MPI. This is a multi-process welder that does MIG, TIG, and stick. In this case, I'm going to be stick welding with it. I'm going to be using Lincoln Electric Tech Rod 99, which is a 99% nickel stick welding rod. Now I've done some stick welding in the past. You can see some of my tests over there because I haven't stick welded in a while, but this is my first time welding with the nickel rod, so this will be a great experiment. Now, one of the things that I did read about doing this type of weld is that I'm going to need to preheat the cast iron pretty hot. So I've got a Harris Rosebud on there, and I'm trying to get this thing up close to 900 degrees. That was the recommended temperature that I got, and I used a temperature crayon to make sure that I was close. I definitely got some parts of it up to 900, and then I put in that first pass. The weld wasn't great. I had a lot of porosity, so I went back and did another pass. Unfortunately, I blocked it with my fume extractor, but then I did go back, and you'll be able to see from this other side, and added a little bit more weld after I ground some of it away. One of the things that I read online was you basically immediately want to peen over the weld, so I did do that with a hammer before I ground it, and then I was kind of going back and forth, adding little bits of the nickel rod, and then peening it and wire brushing it to, kind of finish it off. I definitely could have done a better job with the nickel rod welding, but I learned a lot during this process, and I learned how to get a better weld bead, a better pool, and I tried to keep this piece nice and hot and not let it cool down too quickly to avoid cracking. I was very attentive to it, listening to make sure I didn't hear any cracking, and overall when I was done, the piece looked really good. I could see some penetration inside the actual movable jaw, and I think that it's going to hold up. I didn't see any visible cracks, and I added a couple little spots to fill some gaps with the tech rod. And overall, I'm actually really excited that I got to do this process, and I feel like I learned a good amount because I've got a lot of old broken cast iron parts that I could definitely use this method on, and I feel like this is a valuable skill. Now, once the vise had cooled down, I went outside and I ground away whatever was left of that weld bead, and I could start kind of cleaning up this vise so I could assemble it. Now, immediately that movable jaw didn't actually fit inside the fixed jaw, so I had to go through and just sort of grind the sides of my movable jaw and just get some of the corrosion off of there. That's all fine, and this thing is pretty caked up with rust and corrosion, so I'm not surprised that I had to do that. I also ground down some of the areas that I welded, and I did some grinding on the jaws. Now you'll be able to see, once I clean out some of the inside of the fixed jaw, that this thing slides really well in and out, which is a huge accomplishment for this vise being as seized up as it was, and it really encourages me that this thing is going to be a really functional tool once I'm all done. I wanted to make the jaws of the vise function a little bit better because they had a pretty bad gap on one side, and I also wanted to fix up this sort of flat section on the back that was definitely hammered on and used as an anvil. I used the Fared Victo grain disc here, which really removes material quickly, and I tried to get it as flat as possible and even put a little chamfer on the edge to clean it up. In the end, I'm going to be using a blackening solution on this, but I want this thing to look nice and clean, even though it's definitely a workhorse and it's not going to be a real showpiece. I used a cutoff wheel to scour in a line in the jaws, and then I went ahead with the Victo grain disc again and ground those until they were perfectly parallel and would leave a nice surface. Then to get some of the heavier corrosion and grime off of there, I used a little scraper. Now the rust removing soap won't remove stuff like that, but it'll definitely remove any of the surface rust that is around it. So if you're gonna try to perfectly clean an item with the WD-40 Specialist Rust Remover Soak, you want to make sure that you get any of that heavy grime off there with a degreaser beforehand. You can see I use the wire wheel a little bit just to clean up a little bit of the edges, and then I'm just going to blow everything off with some compressed air, and that's going to allow me to be ready for some finishing. There's still a lot of dirt and grime inside this thing. It was really caked on there, but overall it got cleaned up pretty well. You can see all the lettering on the sides, which is awesome, and this thing is ready for some black magic. Before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to straighten the handle, which had a pretty bad bend in it. I heated it up with the torch and got that straight. And then I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this movable jaw and weld back on the little ball end that was on there. Now, I don't know if these are the factory ends that should have been on this handle. They looked like they were maybe peened over at one point. But either way, I'm just going to grind a little chamfer in there and MIG weld it back on, and then MIG weld the top of it to kind of just keep the whole thing cleaned up so that when it's all done, it can't fall off again. Again, I'm really going for function on this vise as opposed to a real showpiece style restoration. I want to utilize this vise because it's so big and it's got a lot of clamping force, so I'm just trying to get the whole thing working well. Now, Chas Parker vices use this sort of dovetail jaw, and they don't use any screws to keep the jaws in. They use 1/4-inch metal pins, and one of them was missing, so I added one back in there and just ground that jaw so it'll keep it from getting loose. And then I can take this thing outside and grind away any of the weld that is left on the handle. Now, I'm using the Froward Victo grain disc again here, which I've made a video about. I like it because it has a real sharp corner, and you can get inside a real sharp 90-degree corner and clean up weld. It does wear out over time, that little corner edge, but you can really get a lot of work done with it before that happens. So it's a really fast way to clean up a sharp corner like that. Now last, before I go ahead and use the Black Magic patina, I did some degreasing, and now this is the Sculpt Nuvo Black Magic spray-on patina, which I've used on a bunch of other projects before. This works really great on mild steel, and it can also be used on other metals, but I really love the finish that it gives. It's a very natural blackened steel finish. You put it on just by spraying it. You rub it into the metal. You don't let it dry on the metal. You want to rub it in, and you want to put on multiple coats. And then I always like to kind of polish it off with the Sculpt Nuvo Black Wax, which is also made by the same company. And this is a combination of a blackening agent and a protecting wax, similar to like a paste wax, but it's very viscous. It's very liquidy, and it goes on really well. So you can see I'm rubbing all that black wax in on everything, and you can actually see over time the metal is getting darker just as it sort of soaks in. This is a protectant and also a finish. It is a little bit different than paint because it can't chip off. It's really kind of impregnated into the metal. And I think for a more utility-based kind of restoration like this, it's going to be perfect. Now, I didn't want to paint the letters, so here's a little trick. Once I put the blackening on, I just went back in there with a wire wheel and I cleaned up the high spots, which gave them a nice shine. I think it's really cool looking. And then I can go back ahead and, you know, kind of clean that up and add some more black wax in some of those other areas and use the blackening technique that I just did on any of the remaining parts before I bring it inside for reassembly. I also wanted to make sure I blacken the screw box because not only does this add a color, but it also protects the whole thing. I moved it inside and clamped it down to my welding table so I could work on the assembly. Now, one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know how I missed this, but I was missing a pin to keep the screw box in. Now, you saw just there, I added some WD-40 Specialist gel lubricant to the bottom of the slide. That's going to be helpful. And here I've got some WD-40 Specialist heavy-duty grease, which I'm going to put on the screw box in and out, which is just going to help move this thing that much better. I have this in a grease gun, which is actually a great way to apply grease even if you don't have a Zerk fitting, because it puts it exactly where you need it without getting it all over your hands. Now, the screw box should have a pin behind it, and that pin would keep the screw from moving in and out. I didn't see a hole for it in this one, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe there was a wedge in there at some point. But regardless, I decided I would drill a hole straight through the bottom of the vise base and then hammer a pin in there. Now, the reason I went with a hole that went straight through was getting that pin out could be difficult, but I wanted a hole there so that I could always put another punch on the bottom side and push the pin out from the bottom up. With that in there, I can do the final assembly, put the screw in, add the collar with some grease in and around it, which will help lubricate the whole action. And once I add those two brand new stainless steel screws, that's a 5/16 screw, You can see with just one finger, I'm able to open and close this massive vise. 6-inch jaws with a huge opening and a lot of great clamping force. And this thing is going to be a workhorse in my shop or any shop. I'm not exactly sure where it's going just yet, but I'm excited that it's done. I'm really happy with the cast iron repair, and overall glad to get this thing out of the trash and onto the workbench. All right, that about does it for this one. I'm really psyched that this vise is out of the scrap bin and into a functioning position here on the bench. It's not gonna stay here, but it's definitely working great, and repairing it with that Tech Rod 99 was a really cool experience and made me confident to do some more cast iron repairs that I have around my shop. Now that's a nickel based rod. I had to get that steel pretty hot like you saw, and it was definitely a little bit of a learning curve to stick weld that, but overall the tail is holding together. I don't see any cracks in it, and I don't really see why it would ever kind of come apart again unless this thing was like hammered on. I think that's what happened. I think somebody was maybe using the tail of the movable jaw as like kind of a anvil, but I ground off the kind of anvil back on this, and I can use that if I ever need it. This is a pretty good size vise, and it's going to make a great addition to the shop once I figure out where it's going to land. Thank you to WD-40 brand for sponsoring this video. Check out the WD-40 Specialist Rust Remover Soak. It absolutely saved this thing, and you saw how I kind of had to pivot in what vessel it would go in, but it's a really versatile product, and as long as it's on the actual metal, it's going to remove the rust. That, coupled with the WD-40 Specialist Heavy Duty Grease, has this thing working awesome, and I'm really, really excited to have it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below if you have any comments or questions, even some tips on how to use that nickel welding rod. That would be awesome, because I definitely guessed my way through some of that. If you want to see what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, follow me right here at Make Everything Shop on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, restoring stuff, making stuff, and doing work in my shop. Again, I'm Chris Zepp for Make Everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.